look like a ghost in the viewfinder. Anyways, hello everyone, hi. I'm Maria. I study comparative literature at the University of Vienna and I'm currently in my 6th semester. And this is a week in my life. I've had my super busy uni day yesterday, and I thought I would quickly sit down today and talk a little bit about what it is that I'm currently learning. I've had 3 of my 4 courses yesterday, and the first one is called Psychoanalytical Theories about Culture and Society or something like that. So there was actually a guest lecturer at the course yesterday. His name is Roger Vrie, and he's a psychoanalyst, but also a historian, and I think he also studied philosophy or something. And he talked about the process of finding out that his grandfather was a Nazi, which is an experience he summed up in his book Not in My Family, or Nicht in meiner Familie in German. So anyways, even though the course itself is not about literature, it's part of this kind of side specialization I'm doing in psychoanalysis, I still really appreciate it because it helps me a lot to understand complex psychological phenomena. Next, I had my course on the history of philosophy, medieval philosophy, which I've historically been struggling with, but it's getting better. It's just a whole lot of the church said this, the church said that. We mostly talked about Meister Eckhart yesterday and the beginnings of German mysticism. And then we also talked about the ecclesiastical interventions, die Verurteilungen in German, from 1277. Basically just a bunch of things that the church said one is not allowed to talk about or think anymore in philosophy. And the last course on Monday was my Vienna around 1900 course, and we had to read the introductory chapters to The World of Yesterday by Stefan Zweig, Die Welt von gestern. And it was so striking, like we discussed it in our course, because Zweig has written this book and it's about his childhood and the Vienna in which he grew up, and he looks back on it very in a nostalgic way, in a very rose-colored glasses way, and just in a very disappointed way, right? He says, I think in the introduction, that as he's writing this very book, he has nothing left to look back on. Like all of his books he had to leave behind when he was fleeing Austria. He has no letters with him. He had to go away from the city and the country that he loved, where people were reading his books. And now his books are being burned, and he just feels like he has to write down this story that is like his story, but it's also the story of an entire generation. Today I'm actually not going to do anything for uni because Tuesdays are now podcasting days. So I'm about to sit down and record my Patreon podcast, Lucid Labyrinths, and I'm gonna talk about this paper, which is about Marcel Proust and Arthur Schnitzler and their use of dreams in their books. My gosh, I'm tired. Anyways, I've been writing on this for 3 months and I've just handed it in. It's a paper I had to write for a university course. And I said to my patrons, once I'm done with it, I'm gonna bring it to you and just kind of give you the rundown on the 25 pages that I've written. So that's what I'm gonna do, as well as checking in on some reading and just what I'm thinking about and everything. So that's the program for the rest of the day. So I'll see you again tomorrow when I'm continuing my uni work. So I'm gonna spend all day today working on my bachelor's thesis on the topic of Vienna around 1900. And this is my first plan. I know that I want to write about the Wiener Werkstätte. I think in English it's the Vienna Workshop. That's a collective of artists that formed around 1900, and their belief was that every aspect of life should be infused with art, and that everything that is in someone's life, like down to the keys they use to open the apartment, like everything should be a piece of art and should be infused with beauty. And when I heard that for the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, other people have thought that? So I can really get behind that, you know, aestheticism and beauty as a high value. So that's very intriguing to me. So first I thought about just writing about that and maybe contrasting it with the actual lived experience of most people in Vienna around 1900, and how that kind of clashes, how it's a kind of an elitist and unsustainable thought in the end. That's like one way I could take this whole thing. But I want it to be more about literature. So I thought I would like try and bring The Man Without Qualities into that discussion as well. I don't know if it's gonna work out, but I'm just fascinated with, again, the Vienna Workshop thinking that this like total piece of art, like this totality in art is possible and is, I don't know, like an ideal we're trying to get to or something. Because I feel like after World War I, that sentiment was really shattered. And, you know, for the rest of the 20th century and now also in the 21st century, we're not really, like we have a little bit of a, we're apprehensive when we hear the word total or complete or something. Great literature of the 20th and 21st century is much more like fragmented, you know, postmodern in the sense that it's incomplete or it's ironic. And I just think that there is something that happened through World War I and World War II that has just turned writers away from that sentiment completely. And it's so visible in The Man Without Qualities. So not only does this book reflect on the time of Vienna around 1900, it itself looks back on the time ironically, and it itself is a fragment and more like a collection of essays. And I don't know, like I see something there. I'm not entirely sure yet how I'm gonna argue it, but I will find out, I guess. So I'm gonna spend today just looking through all of these books and get a good grasp on the Vienna Workshop and what they did. And then tomorrow I am gonna go to the Museum of Applied Arts in Vienna, because that is where all of the things, the physical things that the Vienna Workshop created, I mean, not all of them, but a lot of them are in the museum there. And they're so beautiful. That's like another reason why I wanted to choose this topic. It's like when I see the architecture and interior design and clothing and ceramics and just absolutely everything that they created. I cannot. I so love that style, and I wanna live in it too, you know. Yeah, so I'll insert some clips at the end of this video of my trip there. And then for the rest of the day tomorrow, I think I'm just gonna go to the library and catch up on my uni work a little bit for the other courses. I have 5 or 6 weeks until the exams start, and I've definitely fallen a little bit behind on my literature and philosophy course. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna try and do today and tomorrow. And then Friday and Saturday are always YouTube days, so nothing exciting happening anymore when it comes to uni for the rest of the week.